Greetings and welcome to Metaphysical Awakenings with Barbara.
And Eric.
Today's title is Stop Apologizing. You're perfect right where you're at.
Do you ever run into people who are going about their day and want to explain something to you? Oh, I'm sorry. No, I didn't mean that. I meant, this is, and I didn't mean to take this upon me to say that you're, different or I'm better than you. And then they get into this swirl of not knowing what to do, not knowing what to say, and just really kind of falling apart because they are what's the word? Kind of discombobulated in their lives, and they don't realize in the moment they really are perfect, right where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, I've definitely ran into someone like that. That was probably myself 20 years ago.
Can I get a witness? I understand, yes.
Always apologizing to others overly to where the apology didn't really mean anything and it probably just was more just discombobulated. And it was surrounded by fear is what it was.
Right.
Fear of not being accepted, fear of judgment, fear of what other people are going to think about me. And it made me want to apologize for who I was and tried to make everyone happy. And you know the saying, if you try to make everyone happy, then no one's happy. So
exactly. You apologize ahead of time so that when you say something silly, which you think you're going to say, then you've already apologized for it. Well, we're going to take apologies out of our vernacular for today. And what we're going to talk about is how on a spiritual journey we are supposed to fall down. We are supposed to get back up, brush ourselves off, and allow ourselves the time to not be perfect.
that's right.
In the human condition, I believe that we are here on the earth plane to learn and gather information that causes our soul to expand and grow. In the moment of time where we are sitting in our daisies and having a lovely picnic, that's not so much of an exponential time in as much as falling down in the mud puddle again. What am I supposed? Oh, I'm sorry. I've fallen again. Let me just give me a minute. I'm just so not good at. And then on and on and on about berating yourself.
And it could become a cycle, a perpetual cycle of feeling like I'm not good enough or I need to keep on apologizing. And once you get into the routine of apologizing so many times, then you will continue doing that routine until you get out of that habit and realize that you're already perfect where you are at this moment.
Right.
That doesn't mean that you might be the perfect idea of the best Christ-like self that you could eventually be, but you're perfect in that moment of growth, of being down there in the mud puddle, and that's where you need to be at that time. And it's okay to acknowledge it's okay. This is where I am right now, and that's okay. I'm not going to apologize for it. Of course, there is times where it's appropriate to say I'm sorry and apologize, but to overly do it and to say it without thinking about what you're saying, I think that's kind of what we're talking about here.
It kind of takes away from the time when you might really need to apologize.
Right, then it comes off as insincere if you have done it so many times.
Right. And, I want to come back to where we write our blueprints out.
Sure.
And we write our blueprints out purposefully to fall down and fail from time to time. I know how absolutely crazy that sounds. And why in the world would I do that to myself? I believe we are here in Earth School. Mm-hmm. In Earth School, we come down to what is known as one of the densest planets in the universe, which makes you, me, us, the bravest souls to come to a place where we know we're going to get hurt. But in that hurt, when you come to the other side of that, how much more have you gained and grown? And, that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I mean, sometimes you just want to punch somebody in the head for saying that to you all the time, but it's so true. You gain so very much when you allow yourself the whole experience. Live, learn, fall, grow, move on. In our blueprints, it sounds insane that we would want to write in, maybe, I'm not going to go into certain details, but things that just absolutely leave you emotionally devastated. Why? Why? Well, because it takes you down to almost your soul level. And it's where everybody is in the foxhole reaching for God.
That's right.
In our worst times, we're finally going to invite God into the middle of our lives.
That's very true. The times whenever we call upon God or source the most is when we are often at our lowest point.
Right.
Because we need it that much. It's a cry for help. It's a cry for, I need to change. I need something different than what is in the situation right now.
Help me, God. Send me angels. Send me help. And then my favorite part is the God bartering. God, if you get me out of this mud puddle, I'll go to church every Sunday, or I'll go back and I'll fix up the house like I promised my husband or wife, and but no, that's not necessary. Inviting God into the middle of your life is what assists you as a human being on the earth plane, because we're spiritual beings first. And without God, oh my gosh, could you imagine? Without God in my life, I would be sitting in a chair afraid to go anywhere, But allowing God to take over the reins, I pulled the bus over finally, and instead of Barbara driving down the road like a maniac, I said, God, you're going to have to drive now.
Yes.
What I'm doing is not working. I recognize that. I've come to this Y in the road where I keep repeating the same pattern over and over and over again. Gosh, I'm sorry. I'm doing this again, and I'm talking about that. I don't understand. I'm just so sorry. And that's where all of the apologetic banter comes in, because you're so confused, you don't know what else to do or say until you let God drive.
That's right. I used to do the bartering type of prayers,
Isn't that fun?
As I've grown, whenever I'm in times of low places, sometimes I'll just pray and say, God, I don't quite understand what's going on right now. It's not where I want to be. I know that you are perfect and I'm a reflection of you, and I need to be here at this place. So I'm grateful that you are here with me during this time of growth and development, even though it's uncomfortable. I may not be where I want to be at this exact moment, but at least you're here with me, and I'm grateful for that. And it kind of flips the script and instead of saying, I need you to do this, and if you do this, then I will do this.
Yep.
I promise I'll call my mom and dad every day. I promise I'll send my grandma notes. I promise I'll reconcile with all these people.
Right. Well, and what happens, here's a good part of this also, Eric. What happens after we call God and after we ask God to assist us? We're going to get up out of the mud puddle. We're going to wash ourselves off. And here's the part where we either continue on the road with God, or we say, thanks, God, I'm out of this. I'll take over from here.
Right. So I've heard that praying is essentially talking to God.
Yes, sir.
And if you just leave it at that, then you are just talking to someone without listening to an answer. So the flip side of that is meditation, or times of quietness, times of stillness, to where you can receive what source is telling you, what God is telling you, and to be able to listen. So need to not only just talk with God through prayer, but also listen to God through meditation.
Right. And, within this meditation, speaking intention over our life, I keep bringing this back around, but it is my intention to take fear out of my life forever, insert love, and try to beam that to any and everyone who might want to have that for themselves as well. And once that's done, how do I know it's working? How do I know that God heard me? You don't know. However, you can ask for signs. You can ask God to show you the way. I'm working with a young man. I'm mentoring him. And he's got very strong medium characteristics. And I said, ask God what your sign is going to be. When something's going on in your life, just ask that you know what the sign is, that God's got you, you've heard, And he called me in the middle of the week, just out of the blue. Eagles, Barbara. Eagles. They're all over my house. I see them all the time. And I said, well, what does that mean to you? It means that God's got me. That's my sign. What's your sign? Could it be butterflies? Go on.
Yes, butterflies is definitely one of the signs that have consistently showed up to me through this year.
I love it. Yes. See, I might be a little psychic there, but yeah, the point is we have to discern for ourselves what it is we would like to speak intention on for our lives. Now, what is that? Speak intention. It is my intention to bring love and light to this world, to be of service to anyone who needs me and the things that I've got, my medium gifts, my healing gifts, even if it's just a telephone friend, But speaking that intention, that won't necessarily come until you call it.
Mm-hmm.
And asking God for your sign, oh boy, it doesn't necessarily have to be the same thing over again. It can be, in my experience, and understand when I'm speaking, these are my experiences with the divine. I don't expect everybody to have the same exact thing as me. We're sharing our lives so that you can pick and choose that which works for you and move forward on your spiritual path. And going back to what I was saying, I asked in the beginning to be shown 3 signs. 3 signs. When I asked for something, Lord, I ask that this happen and that I be in service, and please show me the way, show me the truth, show me the light. And in that moment, a song would come on the radio, like I've Got You, or a bumper sticker would show up and say, God's got you in his hand, in the palm of his hand. We have to pay attention to the patterns and the signs. It's all about awareness, isn't it?
Being aware is so important to being able to receive. If we're unaware and have the blinders on, then we'll miss out on all the goodness that is meant for us.
Exactly. And once you've gotten yourself to where you understand that you really are this beautiful spiritual being, having a human experience where, like it or not, we're meant to fall down and go boom hard from time to time, then we can upright ourselves, brush ourselves off, and say, okay, God, this just happened and it hurt. I don't want to come to a Y in the road and have to repeat this ever again. What is it I'm to learn from this situation now? And it will come. Journaling, writing, listening, meditation, all of it, right?
Absolutely. And sometimes I found that those signs can be delayed a little bit.
Oh, brother, there's no time, right?
Well, one of our mutual good friends at church, he has been going through a lot of different job searching and difficulty, and just really wanting to raise up and get better and have more opportunities. And he's taken a lot of steps of just saying yes to certain things, whether I've asked him to sub in as a music director or run the soundboard or take on these additional tasks or just anything. He's just been saying yes, yes, and yes. And then all of a sudden in the past month, he's had an abundance of blessings fall into his lap, from a brand new job to opportunities to being able to move to a new place.
Yay.
To just musical growth and opportunities to play new concerts and new venues, and like all these blessings just suddenly appeared. And it was, I think, through him just consistently having that positive attitude and just saying yes, not knowing what was gonna happen yet, and maybe not even. He's just such a humble guy. Just maybe not expecting it, just doing it just because it's the right thing to do.
That's one of the keys. If we are truly going to be spiritual beings in love on the journey to share our spiritual lives together, there cannot, I'm going to rephrase that, for me, I have no expectation of being paid or having something else come for me, or, I don't expect the universe to plop something wonderful down in my lap, because God shows over and over and over again the abundance of that love in our lives in everyday life. When somebody is new on a spiritual journey and they want to get rid of the, oh, I'm sorry, putting that aside and then saying yes to all things in service, everything starts to shift. Without an expectation of feedback, of being paid or anything, just doing it because it makes your soul feel good, it makes your God source shine. There is the ticket to the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's something that I'm currently trying to remind myself more on a personal relationship level, is that relationships aren't transactional. And I've fallen into that trap of sometimes feeling that if I do this, I should expect this, or if you do this, then I should be doing this. But really, with a relationship, whether it be a romantic or just a friendship relationship, you should just be there to love on the other person, and not be focused on what's in it for me.
Right. That's rough, though. That's in the me of what the earth plane has come to be now. Thank goodness we're shifting. It's not all about me. Hopefully, this big shift that the earth is starting to make, we're starting to see, oh my gosh, look what's happened. How can I help this beautiful earth? How can I help these beautiful people? What can I do to assist in making this journey on earth beautiful for other people? I guess this humility maybe is the word.
Yes.
I don't know for sure.
Barbara, I'm not sure. Are you familiar with it's called the Book of Ra?
I am. I haven't read it, but please continue.
Okay, I've only read the audiobook once, and it's quite dense. I won't get into the background of it, but basically what it discusses is that humans, or actually all souls, are on a journey of evolution, and there's two paths to go, and one is through selfishness and the other is through selflessness.
Wow.
And it wasn't really talking that one is, I mean it was using the words positive and negative, but not in terms of bad or good, because
Right.
you can be selfish and then make huge impacts that could be positive on this earth, just the same way as you could be selfish and make very negative impacts to many other people in the world. Just the same way as we can be selfless
Right.
and improve the world through giving and through service to others, but we could also be selfless in a negative way to which harms us because we're taken advantage of. So
Bingo.
it was just an interesting way of kind of looking at that dichotomy in a more nuanced
Wow.
way and an open way. So
I just find that so very interesting, because what you just described is what Spirit's been telling me for years now is my why in the road. We take this way, it's all for human gain, and we're going to get to come back around and repeat that whole thing. Or we can go the spiritual route and keep on moving. And now we have a book of Ra explaining the why in the road. All the information is here for us to glean. And, once we ask for it, it really does come in many different ways. I like what you said about the selfless versus the selfish. And a lot of that selfishness is tainted. And what I mean is people who are always apologetic. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I should have thought of you at first. I should have done this for you. But putting yourself last cannot work, because what you are doing is you are allowing your energy to be pulled from you. And then you can't give something that you don't physically have.
right.
You're putting yourself in the back, and you're giving your love here and you're giving your love there. And and all of a sudden you're exhausted. You don't feel well. Your health is starting to tank, because through all that apology and all of that energy, give, you have now depleted yourself, your energy, and that equates onto the human body, which creates dis-ease.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have to be selfish. We have to be first in order to give away that which we have to share. If we don't have it, then we can't give it away. We're fakers.
Yeah. How can we adequately love someone else authentically if we can't first love ourselves?
Oh, that's a big one. Just so big.
To take it to much more literally 10,000 feet level, how can you help the child next to you with the oxygen mask if you faint first without first putting on your oxygen mask?
110%, Eric. That's just the perfect, that's just perfect for what we're trying to bring forth here. And they're showing me so many, and I don't mean to say that men don't either, but women, we were pre-designed to work and get our kids out there and do everything and support everything and everyone. And then we're on the back burner wondering why we're so exhausted. We're not feeling well. Nothing sounds good to eat. Your human body starts to break down. We're going to stop with the apologies. Realize right here and right now, you're perfect right where you are, because you're understanding it's time to pick up your selfishness and move in the correct direction to allow yourself to infill of all of the God source energy that you need in order to help your loved ones and your friends. You're a beautiful soul. There's nothing and no one that can take that away from you.
That's right.
You give it away, then you need to re-up. And we have to fix where these little leaks might be. And that's okay. It's all a journey. My girlfriend, it's so cute how she would say, okay, well, I'm going to give away my need to satisfy everybody but me, and I'm in last place. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give that to God. I'm going to put it on a kite, watch it sail away. And in the next morning, she's back to doing the very same thing, I should say. And I'm like, well, what happened? She says, I don't know, Barb. I guess I wheeled the string all the way back in and brought the kite back in. So now I've got to do it again. And I said, you know what, love, together, let's do this. So we say a prayer together. We put the kite out there. And when she's not looking, I clip that cord. She can't bring that energy back to herself. These are goofy little things, but in the human condition, we have to sometimes see these things happening for our spirit. There needs to be a physical action in order for our brain to imprint to know, yeah, oh, that has happened. I don't have to do that anymore. And when the thought comes to mind, you just say, nope, I gave it to God. You don't let that come through. You don't acknowledge it. It's old news. 17 to 21 days later, you have a new habit.
Yeah, habits take time to establish. So if you fail after the first or second or third time, that's all right. That's part about being human. Just
Yes.
Don't give up. Just keep on trying, and eventually that new habit will form.
And that new habit outline starts to restructure your life. You start to remember, oh, I can just give this to God. God's in the middle of everything. I've got to remember that. And a lot of the times, either we don't know that, we don't feel it, we don't see it, so we don't believe it. But this is where we have to learn to trust the divine. Ask for signs, and I promise you, God shows up every single time, bar none.
I'm looking forward to asking for some more signs. I haven't done that in a long time.
Wonderful.
So I think I will do that and just see what signs come about.
Yep. Realize, you guys, you are, as my friend Sylvia Brown used to say, you are sparks of the divine sparkler. You are a beautiful light, a part of God's design and God's light. Nothing and no one can put you asunder from God except for you taking yourself away from that. And even if you had, that's done. Let's turn the boat around, call God, and just go back into the light. There's nothing that you have done on this earth that is so horrible that God is going to leave you.
Yes.
You wrote your blueprint so that you could learn and grow through some of these really ucky things. And remember, we still love the person. We just don't love the action.
Those things can be separated, absolutely.
Some of them absolutely must. They must. I just had to testify for a client's case regarding domestic abuse. I'll leave that there. Okay. But the long story short was, when I spoke to the judge and I said, I don't dislike this person over here who caused this pain. I respect them. I loved them. I enjoyed the humor. I enjoyed everything about them. I just could not condone what I see as a mental issue. I could not condone what that person has done. So I can love the person. I don't have to love the action. And at the end of the day, that helped a lot in the case. But if we remember, we're still human beings. We're doing the best we can. And sometimes there are outside things we've got no control over. Clip them, send up the kite, let God take it, and bless the situations. And know that you are perfect and beautiful right where you are.
and you don't have to put on a pretend cloak of being perfect or trying to make other people think that you're perfect, because people, first of all, I see through that. Whenever something is too perfect, we don't relate to it, because as imperfect beings, we sense that, like, oh, something's off with that.
Right. You talked about that in music before.
Yeah, that's right. Whenever someone takes too much time in like auto-tuning things or making things technically or theoretically perfect, and then you hear the final result, like, it's the humanness has kind of been taken out of that. And others, as long as you're just living an authentic life, being yourself, being the perfect person that you are in this moment, making these perfect mistakes,
That's good.
then other people are going to see you as being human and being relatable, and they, I think in general, will be accepted for that. Not that, being accepted by everyone is important, as I think I've said before. 25% of people will love you, and no matter what you do, they'll still love you. There's another 25% who will love you, but there could be something that you do that will make them not anymore. There's another 25% who might not like you, but there's something you could do that might change their mind, they'll like you. And there's just 25% of people who, they won't like you, won't love you, and no matter what you do, it's still going to be the case.
Exactly.
So you can't satisfy everyone. You can't be everything to everyone. So just be yourself. We're all divine expressions of God, of goodness, and reflections of that. And I've heard, I don't remember where, but that our expressions are a way of God looking out at what he or she created.
Yeah. God lives through us. Mm-hmm. As we expand. We're experiencers for God. And wow, I have felt that before. I could tell you some things that would really blow people's minds, so I'll try to keep it a little bit less than that. But, at the end of the day, there's no perfect. Like he was saying, there's just no way to be perfect. And, apologizing for not being perfect is just not even, it's a waste of energy, And even an apology comes from something that you purposefully do, maybe to trip somebody up. Stop apologizing and understanding that we are all in this human condition together, having wonderful experiences of falling down, getting up, asking God, moving forward. Everything is a stepping stone to your higher, better, and your experiential growth as a human being and a spiritual being on this beautiful path that we're all on together.
That's right. Hey, thanks for those words of encouragement there, Barbara.
Thank you, Eric.
How about the prayer for protection today?
I think we have it. Yep, ready?
All right.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you, God.
Thank you, God. And thank you for joining us. We will see you on the next episode. Take care.